Hey there, John here. So we have been living in Guatemala for 3 weeks now, and we absolutely love it here. It's awesome. Great place to be. But a lot of people have asked us how it's different living here than it is in the United States where we're from. So we thought we'd make a video to show you. All right, you ready? Let's do it. We are the Farrells. John, Sarah, Emma, Matthew, Ellie, Alyssa, and Brooke. We sold our stuff and left our home to travel and see the world. And these are our million adventures. Now, I should mention that these differences might be exclusive to where we're at. We're in Panajachel, which is a smaller town. It's not like the main city. So all of these differences might not apply to all of Guatemala, just so you know.
I'm thirsty. We drink water from these bottles and not the faucet because the faucet isn't purified and this water is.
So just as the girls demonstrated there, you have to buy purified water in Guatemala. And this is actually the case in pretty much all of Central and South America, Mexico. You have to buy it in these jugs already purified because water that comes out of the tap is definitely not clean. It's got microbes, it's got all sorts of amoebas and icky things that you don't want to introduce into your body. With that said, you can boil water out of the tap and it will kill everything in there and then you can drink it. So we usually use this water to drink, and if we're going to make soup or we're going to make something where we're going to be boiling it for many minutes, we'll definitely just use water out of the tap. You shower with water that comes out of the faucet. A lot of people even brush their teeth with it. Just don't swallow it and drink it, and you'll be fine.
Toilet paper. Wait, we don't throw toilet paper in the toilet because we're in Guatemala. You throw your toilet paper in the trash can even if it has poop on it.
You can't flush toilet paper in Guatemala, and that goes actually for most of South and Central America. The toilets and the sewer systems are just not made to handle toilet paper. So if you start flushing toilet paper, you're gonna have a clogged toilet pretty quickly. And trust me, we learned the hard way. Okay, enjoy your school bus ride, Alyssa.
Bye.
See you later. Bye. So let's talk transportation for a moment. So here in Panajachel, not a lot of people own cars. So usually they get around on scooters, motorcycles, or with tuk-tuks. They're these little motor scooters that have a carriage attached. There's also chicken buses, which are basically just school buses that have been all decked out and people just load on. You'd usually get on one of those to go somewhere a little bit further, like if you wanted to go to the next town. But there's lots of ways to get around here in Pana. Lots of people bike and lots of people just walk. There's also trucks, pickup trucks, that'll just load up on people. So lots of ways to get around. Many of them not quite so safe, but hey, they work. Now, I know this is one of those things that is probably not the case in the whole state. But here in Panajachel, the internet is terrible. terrible. It's really not good. And it's not just where we're staying. I've talked to lots of people all throughout town, and everyone gets about 2 megabytes download. It's pretty dismal. Now, that said, it is enough to get done most work. Like, I can work all day, I can do video conferencing, and everything's pretty much fine. There's a little bit of lag sometimes things drop, but for the most part, it's okay. Anyway, internet here in Panajachel around Lake Atitlan, not great. So, given the tropical climate in Guatemala, there are naturally a lot of bugs here. It's not necessarily different than the US, but we've definitely had more encounters with bugs and interesting bugs here than we ever would back in the States. This scorpion was in our bathtub drain. This bee was on the back of the couch.
This is Sticky, a stick bug. We found her in Guatemala when we were walking into town.
Get him.
She was stepping on my eye. Blackout.
So one of our biggest struggles being here in Panajachel has actually been power. Now, this isn't always the case apparently, but the month we've been here, the power has gone out so often. It's been ridiculous. Like, even just today, I'm not even joking. Today the power has gone out probably 6 or 7 times. It'll just go out and maybe 5 minutes later it'll come back on. But initially when we were here, the first few weeks, the power was out for days. And that's a big problem if you're trying to work, if you're trying to charge your phone, etc. So this little light switch, something that we take for granted in the United States, you know, if there's a power outage, it usually doesn't last that long. Here, you just might not have power for a whole day. And too bad, so sad.
Look, the outlets are different. They're rectangle instead of square.
Not all homes in Guatemala have a hot water heater. They use an electric heater on the shower head to give you hot water. So the food here in Guatemala is, well, what would you say? You can get pretty much whatever you want to eat here. The local food is pretty simple, but it's very good. Sarah and I are going to get breakfast at our favorite place this morning. I will show you what the typical breakfast looks like. The Guatemalan typical breakfast might vary a little bit household to household, but the staples are eggs, refried beans, fresh cheese, and fried plantains. Our favorite typical breakfast also included guacamole, a little bit of oatmeal, and a cookie.
Mommy!
The national currency in Guatemala is the quetzal. You can get quetzals in 100s, 50s, 20s, 10s, and even single quetzal coins. 1 quetzal is approximately equal to 13 US cents.
People!
You know, probably one of the biggest differences between here and the United States is that the people in Guatemala are so trusting and friendly. You know, that might sound a little bit silly and maybe a bit of a generalization, but people here just trust you. We've had many experiences while being here where people have said, oh, just pay me tomorrow, or, oh, that's all right, you know, we'll figure this out later, or here, let me take your backpack and I'll meet you at this other place. People here generally are trusting and honest. And when you give your word, that actually means something.
which, sad to say, is not always the case in today's world, especially in the US. Well, that's it. Differences between Guatemala and the United States. So now you know. Guatemala is a great place. We've loved visiting here. We've made lots of friends and tons of memories. If you ever have a chance, definitely visit. All right, we'll see you on the next one.
Are we there yet?